I want people to challenge what they fear. I found her. She's kind of cute. I'm Maya Carrasco-Harris. I'm from the University of Memphis. I'm working with Dr. Judy Cole from the University of Memphis and Dr. Steve Reichling from the Memphis Zoo and Aquarium. I'm out here today studying copperheads, specifically looking at their home range and behavior in Overton Park. And the reason we're interested is because the park's been isolated for over 100 years by these roads such as Poplar, North Parkway, East Parkway, and so there's no natural route for them to leave the park and go to other natural areas that are larger, might provide more mates or might provide more food. And so we're interested in what's been the effect of urbanization on these animals. Oh, shoot, there it goes. There you go, that's a good snake.
Where is this?
This is capture number 80. This one cooperated quite nicely. So each animal is captured and then it's taken back to the Memphis Zoo. There we weigh the animal, we insert a small transponder chip that allows us to basically have a barcode on the animal so we can know who is this individual. Then after a few more data points have been taken, the Memphis Zoo veterinarian inserts a small transmitter inside of the animal, and with that we can then release the animal to the wild. It has a radio frequency and we can go out a few times a week, find the animal, and then describe what type of environment it's using, and also note down what its GPS location is so we can compare where it was before and after. That sends out the radio signal. So it has a frequency to it, 150, 2710, and this radio is telling me that we are close to that transmitter. The technology is not new. We've been doing radio transmitter and radio telemetry work for a while with many different creatures. There's backpacks for hawks. We've got collars on bears and elephants. So the technology is not new. However, this type of work has not been done sufficiently on urban reptiles. So we know more about copperheads that live far deep into the rural wild areas, but we don't know a lot about reptiles that live in city areas, and that's because they are so difficult to find. So we really have just a treasure chest hidden in here. Copperheads are very cryptic animals. You're very unlikely to see one. If you see one, you're having a lucky day. So they're more difficult to study than birds. They're more difficult to study than mammals because of that. And so it's hard to really know how many are in there. There she is. Maybe her. There's a snake right there. She's looking at you underneath this log. I tried definitely to never disturb the animal. So if the animal's underneath leaves, I definitely don't lift the leaves up. I did on accident one time because I thought the animal had been eaten by a fox because she moved over winter, and normally they don't, but the winter was so warm here that she took off and had moved to a different location. So she was under leaves. So basically I was on a hunt to find a dead snake. So I did lift the leaves, and then she just lifted her head and looked at me like, hey, come on, what's the deal here? It's cold out there. The copperheads really depend on the fact that they blend in so well in their environments. And so that's their first line of defense, is camouflage. So I don't want to do anything that's going to disturb that, because then that'll change the research. That changes what we understand about them. All right, buddy, we'll see you later. Snakes don't hear, but they pick up on vibrations of the sound. There you are. Kind of hard to spot because she is going into a shed cycle. So I record this number every time I'm out here, letting me know where the snake was. And then I can plot these on a computer program and measure how far it moved from the previous location we found it. And when you put all of the locations together, you can develop a home range model. So you know, what's this snake's home address? How big is that home range? On to the next. This guy is a little bigger. He's probably one of the bigger ones I have right now, but you're still gonna be surprised at how small he is. So as I approach the animal, I decrease that gain. That decreases the range it picks up the signal, and then I can get a real direction on where the animal is. So it's like a video game. As you get closer, you continuously are changing the gain, you're adjusting it, which means you need to adjust the volume knob because you're picking up less static. And so eventually you become so proficient at it. This one's really easy to see. He's a really bright male. Before I started working on this project, I had always worked with mammals. And when Steve Reichling from the zoo talked to me about this project, I was fearful about it. I'd never owned pet snakes. And so I've really come to learn a lot about these snakes, about their movement patterns. They're not moving as much right now, we don't believe, as snakes that live in the wild. So they're really adapting to humans walking on the trails around them. So what I would want people to understand is these snakes have adapted to them being here, to humans being here. So I like people to respect that, and when they come to the park, they respect that there are animals other than them, other than their pets that are walking around with them. I like them to respect that, to make sure they stay on the trails, that if you see a snake, any kind of snake, a rat snake, a garter snake, a copperhead, even just a tiny little ringneck snake, just leave those animals alone, let them go about their business, because they were here much further before we were here.